If you ask me what Sage's book was about, I genuinely cannot tell you. I don't remember a single thing. Hi Munchkins, it's Rebecca, and today I wanted to start a brand new video series. Usually I make reviews or demos, but today I wanted to start a series where I highlight the parts of my collection. On YouTube Shorts, I'll usually show little parts of my collection, and you can see that I collect a lot of things. So today I wanted to highlight specifically my Star Darlings collection, because as I've been scrolling on TikTok, I've been seeing that it's having kind of a resurgence, which makes me so happy. Now, this was a show and book series made by Disney. It was on Disney Channel, but I wouldn't say it was a Disney Channel show. And it premiered back in either September or December of 2015. And the unique thing about the show is it wasn't just a show with books that were like junior novelizations. The books themselves were their own stories, which I think was really cool. And so the shorts in the show itself would follow along the stories in the books. The other thing is they didn't just have books, they had dolls, which is how I originally got into Star Darlings, and they also had music, which was really good. So let's take a look at the dolls first, and then we can go over the books and just see what's in my collection. So if it isn't already obvious, this is a collection from my childhood, so everything's been played with. So the items aren't perfect collector quality, but I'm okay with that because they were loved. So this doll is Libby. The version I had came with the book, which I think was really cool that they included a version of the dolls with the books. These weren't very popular. I never saw this version on the shelves. I saw the versions that had like the crafts or the light up music stands. I never saw the ones with the instruments though on the shelves, but I asked for her for Christmas one year and I specifically wanted to read her book, so I was happy to get this bundle. So the dolls themselves are probably more towards 11 inches tall because the Jakks Pacific Winx Club dolls I had at the time are just a little bit taller, and those ones come in at 11.5 inches. The doll clothing is really well made. This is the quality that I wish we had nowadays, but they just don't do that anymore. She has this kind of like wrap top that kind of reminds me of things that ballerinas wear. It's technically a dress, so it has a multi-layered skirt, and she has tights with these pink heels that have this star engraving on them. Her hair has these two little, I would say they're more French braids than Dutch braids, tied all the way in the back, and then she has some very gelled curls. You can definitely see where she was fastened into the box. In the many years that I had her, I've never combed out her hair, oddly enough. I usually do that when I have dolls with curly hair because I can't stand the crunch. I really liked how they designed the dolls' faces a lot. I think this was the first time I ever saw glass eyes in a doll. She has pink eyes with a little bit of purple, and her pupils are little stars. She has a star under her left eye that's silver. She has shiny pink eyeshadow, kind of pink, purpley brown eyebrows. They're like 3 different colors, honestly, depending on where you look. She has freckles that go above her nose, and then she has pink lipstick. And it's kind of like shimmery. So if you shine a light on it, it's a little shimmery. The thing about the dolls versus the show versus the books is that they all look different. The dolls are closer to the designs in the books than they are in the TV shows. Like Libby in the TV show, her skin tone is pink, like My Little Pony Equestria Girl's Pinkie Pie pink. But in the book, it's more, I guess, like peachy. As for articulation, they bend at the waist, they bend at the elbows, they bend at the wrist, they bend at the knees, but not the way you think. They bend this way so they can sit like that. So they don't really bend like the way a normal joint would be. So they're intended to sit kind of like that, which is a choice, but okay. So yeah, that's Libby, one of the main characters. The next doll that I have from the main characters is Scarlet. And I go back and forth with how I feel about this doll. I love her outfit. I like that the jacket is its own separate piece. She's wearing a dress that's a tank top and has a multi-layered skirt with tights that are more supposed to be like pants and these really gorgeous black boots with amazing detailing. I mean, I haven't seen details on boots like this in forever. The other thing is she also has a hood, which is kind of cool, but it doesn't fit correctly because of her ponytail. Speaking of the ponytail, that is my main issue with this doll. So as I was saying earlier, the dolls more closely resemble the book designs, but Scarlet in the books has short hair. So just like take off the ponytail and that's what her hair is kind of supposed to be like. I understand why they gave her long hair. She's a doll that you're supposed to brush and play with. Her hair is gorgeous. I love the colors. It's got purple and pink and a little bit of pink tinsel in there. It's more like fuchsia. But the accuracy is not 100%. Her outfit, though, is like pretty close, I would say. Like Libby, she also has glass eyes with sparkling detailing all over her face. Her face is very shimmery. And her eyebrows are kind of also a dark purple brown. And she has pink lipstick. I don't actually have Scarlet's book, so this is the closest design that I have for her. But you can see that her hair is supposed to be short. And for the outfit, I don't really have any critiques. I mean, they got her belt, they did the striped leggings, they did the multi-layered skirt, the hoodie. I think those are the gloves that I'm thinking about. I don't remember if the doll actually had gloves. And she has her hood. I like the jacket a lot. And it's worn down over time. Last but not least for the dolls, we have Cassie in her Wish World form. Wish World is what they call Earth. So when the Star Darlings go to Earth, they try to look more like humans. So they don't really have the colored hair or the sparkle detailing in their faces, and they're less shimmery because they're trying to blend in. So this doll, I would consider it more of a budget line doll because they were less expensive. They didn't come with accessories, but I still think that they look great for a budget line doll. I think I got her for, $10, which you can't even find a doll without molded on clothing nowadays for $10, let alone dolls that actually have elbow and wrist articulation. So obviously you can tell she was the one I played with the most. Her hair is a bit frizzy. I tried to fix it up a little bit before I put her on camera, but I don't think I did a great job. If I tried to do it from scratch, I think I could do better, but I just kind of wanted to leave it the way it was. I always really liked this dress. It kind of looks like sunset colors because it has the like dark pinks and oranges and the shooting stars that are silver. And I just like the way that the dress is designed. The fabric on these dresses are really soft, which is another thing that I really liked as a kid. Her boots are a very shimmery, like bubblegum pink. Ignore that. I got paint on her apparently at one point. And they're just beautiful details. I mean, the laces themselves are gorgeous. So like I was saying before about the faces, the makeup is very toned down because they're supposed to be looking like, I don't even remember how old they were supposed to be, probably tweens to teens. So she's probably supposed to look like a 11-year-old girl, and 11-year-olds at the time of 2015 didn't really wear a lot of makeup. So instead of her normal pink eyes, she actually has green eyes, but she still has the little like star detailing for the pupils. And she has a little bit of a peachy lip gloss. Okay, so she used to have glasses. I do remember that. Okay, but I think those are lost to time. I think the doll's design's pretty good. For a budget line doll, it makes sense why she doesn't have the ruffles. But I feel like the color is very different. But I don't know if that's just because it's raining, so they made everything kind of cooler tones. But I really like the doll's design versus like the actual artwork, so I don't mind it at all. So that's all the dolls that I have. I wish I bought more of them, but I was so young that I just didn't obviously buy them. There were a few Wish World dolls that I wish I bought. I really liked Sage's Wish World design, and I like Libby's Wish World design, but they never released her alongside Leona's Wish World design. They canceled it too soon. I think the issue that people had is that in order to understand everything about the show, you really needed to read the books. But as someone who has the books and then didn't read most of them, whoops, I could follow along with the show. I just knew that they were talking about things that were in the books because I had read like a little bit of Libby's and a little bit of Sage's, and I can understand that each book was about them going on a mission. Like in the last special that they premiered, I remember them talking about Gemma's mission. And I was like, oh, I got to read the book to understand completely what happened. But it didn't take away from the story that they were telling in the TV show episode. But let's talk about the books. So I only have 5 of them. I didn't buy like the individual ones. I got the collection books because they were a lot cheaper, but also these were gifts. So I don't know how much they were at the time. On the back, it says $12.99 for 3 books. On the back of this, it says nothing. I'm going to assume this was probably $8. Probably $6 to $8, which makes sense. So I'd say it's probably half the price of one of these storybook collections. So it was just more cost effective for me to ask for 2 bigger books than 6 of these small books. So the first collection of books has 3 books in it of 3 of technically 5, technically 12 main characters. We have Sage, who I would consider like the poster child for Star Darlings. She was book 1, and her book was called Sage in the Journey to Wish World. We have Libby and the Class Election, and then we have Leona's Unlucky Mission. On the back, it says, "Start your Star Darlings adventure. Welcome to Starling Academy, the prestigious school where students study to become wish granters and help guide wishlings in making their dreams and wishes come true. 12 star-charmed girls, the Star Darlings, have been chosen to work as a team to save their beloved Starland from peril. Sage takes a spectacular journey to Wish World and discovers how challenging life can be in an unfamiliar place. Then Libby must help 2 fighting best friends, but can she stop herself from trying to grant every wish, big and small? On Leona's mission, her challenge is to put her own desires aside and truly understand what her wisher needs." And then it has a little image of the Star Darlings app. I don't think I had that one, but that's when mobile apps were really big, so like every show had a mobile app. So I used to bring these books back and forth to school, and I don't think I really actually ever read the stories. I kind of just skimmed them. So they're a little beat up on the sides, but you can even see where I stopped reading Sage's book, and I have one of these Disney Sorcerer's Kingdoms cards from Magic Kingdom. I like that each story is separated by color. I like that the pages are colorful. I think it just looks nice. If you ask me what Sage's book was about, I genuinely cannot tell you. I don't remember a single thing. I remember nothing from Libby's. I really don't. This was so long ago. So I think eventually I'm going to start and read these again. I've been catching up on this series called Whatever After from my childhood because they finally came out with a conclusion and I need to know how it ends. I read like 12 books as a kid and they're now on book 17, so I'm like trying to get the rest of the books and catch up on them. But I remember really liking what I read, but I don't remember what it was about. I just remember liking it. But the books themselves on the inside have artwork that is gorgeous. I love this art style so much of the 3 girls whose stories are in this collection. They show the instrument that they play, their power crystal and then their wish pendant. So on Sage's, it says, Sage wants to be the best wish granter in Starland history. She just can't wait to get started at Starling Academy. Sage is a natural leader and is always ready for a challenge. She's cheerful but is prone to being impatient and losing her temper. Libby loves helping everyone. She's generous and gracious and wants to make things right for Starlings and Wishlings alike. Libby can be impulsive and irresponsible at times in her efforts to make everyone happy. Leona is a powerhouse. She has a beautiful voice and wants to be a famous pop star. She's confident and optimistic, but can sometimes be a bit self-centered. My favorite thing about these descriptions is that it shows the flaws from the characters. It doesn't show or present every character to be perfect. It shows that each girl has something that they need to work on and overcome. And I presume they talk about those flaws in the stories, and that's like the main conflict. So those are the 3 pieces of artwork. And then in the back, they show their Wish World designs, which I really like. And then just like a little advertisement of all the other books. I have those 3 in a collection, and then I have this one, A Wisher's Guide to Starland. So there's a little description of what the Star Darlings look like when they go to Wish World. And it says, Star Darlings must blend in on Wish World during their missions. Luckily, Wish Pendants have a cloaking device that lets the Star Darlings change their appearance. On Wish World, the Star Darlings' hair changes color, their skin loses its sparkle, and their clothing becomes more Wish World friendly, but without the Starland glow that could give them away. So that's why the characters look different, like their hair color changes color and their eye color changes color, and especially in the dolls, they don't have the sparkle that the Wishling dolls do versus the Wish World dolls, which I think means someone really paid attention to detail, which is really nice. So next we have Collection Volume 2, which shows the other 2 of the main 5 and then one more character of the main 12. And the stories are called Vega in the Fashion Disaster, Scarlet Discovers True Strength, and Cassie Comes Through. The back's actually different, which I think is kind of nice. I was expecting the first paragraph to be the same on all of them. Can the Star Darlings save their world? Lots of strange things are going on at Starling Academy, and some of the girls are suspicious. As they begin investigating, they wonder if there's any connection between Scarlet's getting kicked out of the Star Darlings and Leona's troubled mission. When Vega gets sent to Wish World, she is determined to solve the puzzle fast, but her wisher is incredibly secretive. Scarlet watches from the sidelines as Ophelia is chosen to go on a mission. Cassie has been dreading her journey to Wish World, and her assignment is even harder than she feared. And same as the other ones, in the front of the book, they have the gorgeous artwork of all the characters. So Vega's description says, Vega is a serious student and is very focused on learning all she can. She loves solving puzzles, especially the Starling Academy hedge maze. She's reliable and observant, but can sometimes be opinionated and uptight. Scarlet is fiercely independent and has tons of confidence. She needs to learn to connect with others while staying true to her rebellious, strong-willed personality. Cassie is very imaginative and artistic. She is a ferocious reader and a loyal and caring friend, but she can be moody and sometimes distrustful. Now, why I kept saying again that there's a main 5 and then a main 12, the first 5 characters have instruments because they had a band. I don't remember if they ever talked about the band inside of the show, but they had 3 music videos, I think. It was just Wish Now, Up, and Starlight. I love Up. I remember when that music video came out and I was obsessed with it. I listened to that song all the time. But yeah, you can see moving forward that any of the characters after Cassie only have a power crystal and a wish pendant. And speaking of power crystals, the dolls that didn't come with the books, like Scarlet, she came with a power crystal, which was just like a little plastic ring. And there were other versions that I think I already mentioned this, but there are other versions that came with a light up stand. Some came with these little like star pendants to put little jewels inside of them, and other ones came with their instruments, which I think is pretty cool that they had like 4, 5, or 6 renditions of these dolls circulating at once. So if you open up the back of the book, you can see 3 more pieces of artwork of the main 12 girls in their Wish World designs, along with the same description as we already read. I really like that we get to see this artwork because only 2 of the main 5 officially got Wish World dolls, which were Sage and Scarlet. And then Leona and Libby were planning to have ones, but then Vega never got one. And outside of the main 12, Cassie and Piper were actually the only ones that got Wish World dolls that were released. And I don't think they plan to make any other ones. The main 12 didn't even get dolls. Like Astra didn't have one, Tessa didn't have one, Gemma didn't have one. I think it was just the main 5 with Cassie and Piper and Wish World dolls. And I think Cassie had an additional one, but I don't remember what it was called, and I never saw it on store shelves, so it's like kind of a distant memory. So if you were planning to just pick up the individual books, they would have looked like this. They're pretty decently sized. They're a little over 150 pages, and we can tell where Rebecca stopped reading this one. And it's kind of the same as the other ones, where it has the character, their description, their power crystal, and their wish pendant, but it doesn't show the instrument, which I think is really interesting that they chose to include that in the collection books. But in the back, you get full artwork of their Wish World form, and then a description specifically tailored to the character. So the description's the same on the first paragraph, but the second one is tailored to the character. So it says, Libby's pink hair becomes a light brown with just a streak of color. Her skin loses its sparkle and her clothes look more like girls' outfits on Wish World. Still super stylish, but without the Starland glow that could reveal her true identity. And then on the back, it has a description that really explains what the book's about. The other ones had very small descriptions. And then it has all 12 of the characters on the back, along with the app and the website and copyright information. So that's all I have for the main stories. I never ended up picking up volumes 3 and 4 because I told myself, oh, I'll pick them up when I finish reading these ones. Well, it's been almost 10 years and that clearly never happened. So eventually I'll read them. I was never much of a reader as a kid, and I always wanted to be. So I tried to just get myself interested in reading. So I would buy books, and I just never ended up reading them. But as I've gotten older, I've definitely become more of a fan of reading. So I think when I finish reading the book that I'm currently reading, I'm going to start reading these again. So outside of the collections books, they also released 2, I think, of these kinds of books that I would say are more lore-based because they don't directly talk about one specific Star Darling. They kind of talk about old stories and things like that. There was this one, Good Wish Gone Bad, and then there was another one, I think, called Stealing Starlight, but this one is definitely a lot larger than the other ones. We talked about the collection books being about 150 pages. I think this one's around the 300-page range. Yeah. And I remember this story being about like Lady Stella and the big villain. I can't remember her name right now. And they went on a mission to Wish World, and it talked about things that went wrong and then things that got better. But I clearly also never finished this one because my bookmark is still at chapter 9. So I might finish reading this one and then read the other Star Darlings books, but only time will tell with that. So the back says, Darkness revealed. The Star Darlings have just saved Starland, but now the evil Rancora is more determined than ever to destroy their world at any cost. Desperate to understand what lies behind Rancora's hatred, the girls take a risky journey to find answers about her mysterious past. What they discover is a wish gone wrong, a long-lost friendship, and a betrayal that shocks them. But will their quest for the truth lead them into Rancora's trap? I don't remember any of this. Okay, that's Lady Stella, and that's Rancora. That's about all I remember. That's actually accurate. But on the back, it has this gorgeous artwork with Vega, Piper, and Scarlet. And it has like the little wish flowers and the little wish orbs and things like that. This book doesn't have colored pages. I kind of wish it did, but I understand it was definitely aimed towards older kids. I think overall these books were supposed to be for like 10 to 12-year-olds. So I think this book is supposed to come after you read all of the collection volumes, all 12 of those books, and then you read this one. And then I think this one leads into the finale special. Does any of this make sense? Okay, cool. So that's this book. Whenever I read it, I'll let you know if it's good. And the last book that I have is actually my favorite Star Darlings book. It's called A Wisher's Guide to Starland. I was a huge fan of encyclopedias as a kid, and I still am. So I really liked these guidebooks because they were very visual. So on the back it says, there is one special star in the night sky that glows brighter than the rest. It's where our wishes go when we send them out into the universe, and it's called Starland. Step into this amazing world and discover the magic of Star Darlings. And then the back just has, it's very shimmery, which I like, but it has the little wish orbs on the back of it and the Star Darlings app that they kept advertising. And the front has Vega, Sage, and Scarlet, and then the title on the bottom. Okay, so on the inside of the book, it is very, I don't know how to explain the pages. They're very slippery because they're all very glossy. So inside of this book, it has the Star Darlings, a section about Wish Energy, a section about Starland, a section about Starling Academy, a section about faculty and students, and a section about the Wish World. And my favorite part is the glossary because Star Darlings had their own vocabulary, which I thought was really creative and did a really good job of helping build the world of Starland. So the character pages look like this. They have huge artwork of the character on the left side. In the top, they have the name of the character in a larger font, followed by a description and kind of a little bit of a history of the characters underneath the name, and then a little bit of information about them, like what year they are in the Starling Academy, where their hometown is, their bright day, which is their birthday, their favorite color, and their hobbies. So then when you flip to the next page, it has a description about their wish pendants, power crystals, wish blossoms, and their wishes. Every Star Darling has a wish, which I think is really cute. And then it has artwork on the right side showcasing the wish pendants, power crystal, and wish blossoms. With the main 5 on the left, it'll also show the instrument that they play in the band. This was always one of my favorite pages because I liked all of the wish blossoms and how they looked. I think Blushbell was probably my favorite, although I really like the Skywinkle and the Purple Epiphany. And then, of course, the next page shows their power crystals, which again represent the character that they're supposed to belong to. There's a whole page about negative energy facility and bad wishes and what it means to make a bad wish. And then it talks about different places in Starland, the the foliage in Starland and the different seasons, the creatures in Starland, technology, different celebrations. I mean, the artwork's just gorgeous. And that was my favorite part about this, is just getting to look through everything that was drawn. And as a kid, I always liked that it showed the rooms and the personality for each of the girls in their rooms. This, I think, helps build the world because we usually have like school settings in a lot of shows Like Winx Club is set in a school and a lot of Disney Channel shows are set in a school, but rarely do they ever show a class schedule. So I really like that they showed what a first year schedule versus a second year schedule versus a third year schedule would look like. Even though a lot of this means nothing to us, it's just really cool. And then they have like a section about faculty and staff, which is kind of neat. So in the back of the book, it has the glossary, which I really like because it shows definitions for all of these words that we might not know what they mean. Like, we don't know what a bright day is, but it's the day a starling was born. So it's essentially a birthday. And like, what's a star zap? It's a handheld device that starlings use for almost everything. Well, that's your smartphone. So I like that they included this a lot. I was rereading the Disney Fairies books a little bit ago. Which one was it? The Quest for the Wand. And there were vocabulary words in there that I just did not remember. So I wish it included a glossary like this. Like, I forgot that I'd fly backwards if I could was supposed to be a way of saying sorry until I looked it up. Because I was like, none of this makes any sense. Why are they saying this? So I just applaud them for including a glossary. And that's kind of it. This was a poster, which I actually found hidden in a different book. I used to have this hung up on my wall, so it's a little crunchy, if you say. And then on the back, it just says, wish upon your star in vertical. But I like the front. I like that it has all 12 of the characters. I wish all 12 of the characters were present more in the media because it really only focuses on the 5 that are in the band. And I understand 12 characters is a lot to advertise with, but even flipping through this book again, you really notice that it mostly shows the main 5. Like here and there and things like that. But overall, if I were to recommend you to get any Star Darling book, it would be this one. It has the most content, I feel like, that really explains the world, and the artwork itself is totally worth the $15 that this cost when I bought it. I have no idea what it would cost now, but check out your local library and see if they have them. I don't think many people bought Star Darlings books when they were popular, but you never know. A local thrift store could have them. They're probably available on eBay, but I would check out your local library first to see if they have any Star Darlings books. So yeah, that's my whole Star Darlings collection. It's really small, but I like my collection. I think it holds a lot of memories, which is an important part of a collection. But I recommend, if you have the time, either read the books or watch the episodes. The official Disney Channel YouTube channel doesn't have them posted anymore, but there is a channel called Star Darlings Archives that has all of the episodes posted, and I believe the music videos. So if you get a chance, I would just check it out. I'm going to link that channel in the description for you guys to look at. But yeah, let me know if you ever watched Star Darlings when you were younger or now, or if you ever read any of the books. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye!